Morning guys. So me and the wife are just gonna pop out for a small drive here in freezing Denmark. Here I think it's not that cold actually. I think it's +1 degrees, but it's quite windy, so it feels cold. But anyhow, I thought about making this video for some time. It's about financial ruin, and financial ruin with a car. It can cost a lot of money, but we've had this car here for a couple of years now, and as you can see, it's a nice Peugeot 307. Now here in Denmark, cars are ridiculously expensive, and therefore either you can get finance on a new car, or you can buy an old banger like this. It's 2003 model. It's quite nice with glass roof and climate control and all nice things. But here's the interesting part. Let's go inside here. I don't know if you can see that. The car has 433,000 kilometers on it. So we had this car now for 2 years and done a bit over 100,000 on it. And the reason I wanted to make this video is that most people buy a new car and get it financed. And in our case, wasn't an option. So we had to buy a used car instead, and the choice fell on this car here. Not that I particularly like French cars, but it has surprised me quite a bit. Let's start out. It's freezing cold here. Oh. Like I said, did over 100,000 in it in roughly 2 years, and it's quite a lot of kilometers in it. But I thought about making a video about used cars contra a factory car, a new car. As most people will know, here in Denmark we have a high car tax on cars, and as the years go by, the cars depreciate just as much as they do anywhere else. And when a car gets this old, like this one here, took the AC off. Sorry about all the clothes, it's a bit cold here. When the car gets as old as this here, it doesn't cost any much more money as it does in Germany or England or anywhere else. We paid 18,000 Danish kroner for it, and it had some issues when I bought it. I knew that, and some things that had to be fixed and changed for it, so it can so it rides properly. And every 2 years it has to go to approval center, so it doesn't fall apart on the road. It's obviously not, just like everywhere else. Anyway, I'm not going to go into details about brakes and oil and all that stuff, because you have to do the same on a new car, whether it's 1 year old, 2 years old, or 3 years old, something like that. It's just the same. But this car here, like I said, it was 2003, and with 430,000 kilometers on it, you have to expect that something goes wrong. Now, as I said, financial ruin can either be the gearbox or the engine. Everything else is just like any other car. Of course, you have to do your homework with it. There can be electrical issues on a used car this old. Some brands has been known for problems with certain things. So the one thing that has been a problem with this car here that I sort of knew is the flywheel on it. Is a special flywheel. It's the wheel that connects the engine to the gearbox. It's adjustable flywheel. It means that it's not, in the old days it was just a big chunk of metal. Now it's some sort of a modern thing that helps you then when you release the clutch, so it's much smoother. I think it's rubbish. But anyway, the flywheel broke a little over a year ago, and if you're really in bad luck, it can ruin your gearbox because it can make holes in the transmission housing. But it didn't in this case here. But you can hear it. The flywheel is almost ready to cave in if it has some kind of squeaking noise when it's idle, like this like this now. Squeaks and rattles. So we had it made. Let me first off say that when you buy a used car this old here, I would have to say that you must do your own work on the car, because it's if you're gonna go to a workshop, it's gonna be more expensive. So I've been fixing cars since I was 14. So now I'm 47, so it's pretty long time. So I can make most of the things on these cars here, except for the electrical parts that needs a computer so you can locate the error. Then you have to go to workshop. But anyway, it was a bad time of the year, and I had the money for it. So, and this particular car here is very tight in the engine bay, and you have to take a lot of things apart. I could have done it, but I didn't want to, because the labor parts on it were only 2,400 Danish krones. So the rest was parts, just the parts for it. Paid 8,000 for it, and we got a new flywheel and a new clutch, because the clutch was also gone. And instead of the traditional flywheel that Peugeot has installed in this, we got the old school flywheel with like a chunk of metal, and it performs much better. So this new flywheel and the clutch can last this car's lifetime. Now, like I said, when you buy a car like this that's this old and has done these kilometers here, you have to be able to fix it yourself for the most part. Otherwise, it will be very costly. But for me, it's I would like a new car, but new cars here in Denmark are ridiculously expensive. For instance, this car here in 2003 costed almost 300,000, and yeah, so we had it for a couple of years now. Bought it in 14. We bought it in 14. It's just in 17 now. Bought it in 14. So it's 11 years old, and we paid 18,000 for it. So it's a big difference from 300 to 18,000. Big depreciation, but still rides really great. It's probably the best car we've ever had, and we have a lot of cars over the years. Really a lot of cars. The seats are great, and everything works in it. The heat in the seats doesn't work. It's typical French, because people put their knees in it, and the threads break in the seats. But the point of this video is that if you don't do your homework with it, it can be a financial disaster. To have an old car like this, ask your friends and ask somebody who really knows about cars, and then if you do that and you really do your homework on the internet, then there shouldn't be a problem with the car. There shouldn't be any problems. Of course, when we have bad luck, then the engine on this one can die tomorrow. Who knows? It's a slow car. It's had a lot of kilometers on it. But treat it right, and change the oil, and maintain it like it should be, that you should do with a car like this. If you do that, it's not really that a big problem to buy an old car. But do your homework, and use the internet, use YouTube and other social media to find out if there are any problems with it. The internet is a great thing now these days to find out new information. Now, like I said in the start of this video, brakes and all the other things is not something I want to go into. We have some repairs done to it. So I've made it myself through these last couple of years. But you have to do that on a car that's 1 year old, 2 year old. You have to do that anyway. Brakes get worn out, bushings and all of these kinds of things. They just get worn out. So when you're looking for, I understand that a new car is really great, and I love the smell, and this doesn't smell like that anymore. But I totally get it. In our time we've had 2 brand new cars, and it's really great. But they've cost a lot of money in depreciation over the years, and I think this car here might be on the second place of the cheapest cars that we've had over the years. The cheapest car we had was a BMW E30 320i and 88 model, and it was the best car we ever had. No questions about that. These cars are hard to find now, and some of the cars are extremely expensive today. But that was the best car we have ever had. This here is a great car. It's old, but it's relatively in good condition. It doesn't have any big faults or anything. There's always something. It squeaks a little bit sometimes, and makes some funny sounds in the front suspension, the springs, but you have to expect that with an old car. So it doesn't have to be financially a ruin to have an old car, but if you don't have much money and you're on a budget and you can't afford to finance a new car because you have to pay every month for it, then a car like this is a great option. So I would definitely recommend it. So before, I just want to make a short video before we take a drive. It's boring Sunday and it's freezing cold outside, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any comments or questions or anything else, so put it down here, and I hope you enjoyed it, and have a nice Sunday. Thanks, bye.